Hello, welcome down onto the tech desk, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the super popular Anbernic RG351V. And if you didn't know what this was already, what it is a handheld console that plays retro games. So they're kind of like the ROMs that you get. You fire it onto this and you can play your games handheld. Okay, so what we're going to do in this video is we're just going to go over the kind of like the physical, the buttons, and all about it. And then in my next video, in part 2, we're going to be updating the ROM, and I'm going to go through it from a complete beginner's guide. There are a lot of really good channels dedicated to this that are absolutely fantastic. However, a lot of them suffer from beginner's guides, but you still have to know some of it of what you're doing. Okay, mine will be literally someone who doesn't know what they're doing, updating the ROM for this to make it a better experience. Okay, so when you get the box completely unassuming, a white box for that, and all you can do to get inside is a USB, some manuals that are okay, very basic manuals, but you don't need them. You're going to look on YouTube to work out how to play it. And then you also get a screen protector, which I have added, and you won't be able to see it because I've added it so well onto the screen. So this is it then, this is the Anbernic, and I'm just going to go over it. So we'll start on the left hand side. We have a volume rocker on this side, and then on the front we have the D-pad, joystick, select start, the F key, X, Y, A and B, and on this side we have a slot for 2 micro SD cards, and then up there we have power and a reset. And then on the bottom we have 2 USB Type-Cs, both OTG, but only one can be used for charging, and then the 3.5 here. And then finally some buttons on the back here. We have L1, R1 and L2 and R2, and these kind of sit at the back. So first up, how do you hold it? Well, I spent a bit of a while trying to work out the most comfortable way of holding it, because I thought I'd put my little fingers under there. Now the best way I hold it is kind of gripping it like that, and then putting all my fingers up the back like so, and then holding it and playing it like that. Kind of get hold of it and kind of get used to it, and you can press all the buttons really easily, and especially these ones here. On the back it has kind of 3 grooves here. I'm not quite sure what they're for. They kind of think they're meant to be helping for grip. Yeah. So if you go over the face buttons first then, so X, Y, A and B, they feel great. They're really nice tactile pushy buttons. They're not really clicky, kind of halfway between clicky and mushy, I'd say. So if you're used to kind of any decent controller, this will feel exactly like them. Select and start, yeah, they feel fine. They just feel buttons. You're not going to be pressing them too often, so they're not essential for gameplay. Now here's the 2 things here, there's thumbstick and the D-pad. Start with the thumbstick. If you've played Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Con, this is exactly the same. This is just a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. It feels identical. If you just put your thumb on there and played about, you'd think you were playing with a Joy-Con. Okay. And the D-pad, I'm pleased to say the D-pad is phenomenal. You need a decent D-pad for a system that's going to play retro games, because you might want to be playing a lot of them with the D-pad. And it is great. Up, down, left to right. Very tactile, very pushy, and hardly any movement on the other side when you press up, down, left or right. So pleased to say a fantastic D-pad. With the thumbstick there, I've not noticed any dead zones, but it feels like a Joy-Con. It kind of acts like a Joy-Con. Whether it gets drift or not, I don't know. And then the volume rocker is just easy up and down. And then finally these buttons here, I wanted to talk about these for a little bit because these are brilliant. These are really nice. So the L2 and R2, which are the kinds of ones inside, are raised up a bit. So when you have your fingers on there, you can feel where the next button is there when you're pressing them. And the sound is extremely satisfying, and it's like a mouse click. It's like when you have updated your controllers for mouse clicks. I just want to show the sound. I'm going to put it right up to me here so you can hear it. So I'll just pick L2 because they're all the same. Okay, so let's take L2 for a bit. So it's really satisfying, a really nice click for those. Okay, so if I quickly whip over to here, these 2 here, so I've got the 80GB version. The reason it's 80GB is not because of internal memory, it's because of these SD cards. So this top one here, this is 16 gig, and this one here, this will hold all of the operating system, so the menus and all the graphics and things like that. No games on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to update this to a different card, because I'm just going to lift everything from here and stick it on a new card, which I'll talk about in the next video that I do. And then the other one is 64 gig. So this one here, again, this is just a stock kind of completely generic SD card, and that holds all of the games. So if you have got a load of ROMs, what we're going to do in the update process is you can just whack them all onto here, stick them in here, and the operating system on the other one will read it, and it will kind of like load up on the system. So it's a really nice way of doing it. Just two completely removable, one OS and one games. Fantastic. And then finally, just before we get into any gameplay here, this is a speaker. It's only one speaker, and physics will say that it's not great, but it's okay. It's not too bad. It's nothing exactly what you'd kind of expect from a machine of this size and a speaker of this size. It's not too bad, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So as I was saying, I've got it on the stock OS. So if I fire it up, it does take a while to boot up. Okay, so I just leave it in sleep, and this green light here, this shows that it's kind of like on. That will always be on, and it's always been on for me. I'm not sure if there's a way, you'd have to power it right down for that to go off. So what's going on under the hood then? This is a 3.5-inch IPS screen, 640 by 480, and it is crystal clear. It is nice and bright and sharp. So if I just turn it on there, it is a wonderful screen. You don't need anything more than this on a device like this. And what I'll do as well, I'll just leave all of the stats up there for you to have a look at, so you can go through for like the operating system, the memory and the RAM and so forth. Just go and have a look at that if you want to pause it, just so I'll have a look. And then once you've looked at all of that, let's go through the system itself. Like I'm saying, it's on a stock system at the moment, which is quite slow, and it will be extremely well improved by putting on a different operating system, which we'll do in the next video. So here we are then, and we can scroll through all of the different systems, and then once you've found the system you want, let's pick NES, because they run NES games really well. You just kind of select it, and then you have all of the different games on here that you can go through. Let's just pick a game. Let's go all the way down. Super Mario 3. Select it to go in, and you kind of have your normal buttons as you would on kind of like a NES, but also this here is the F key. This acts as extra. So for example, if I do F and up, it will change the volume. Okay, so we can change the volume to really loud, or we can change it to down and up like that. If you want to get to the system menu, you don't press F and the stick, because that doesn't work. You have to press the stick and then press F, and it comes to the system here. And then you have all of these the menus that you can scroll through in regards to the firmware. So let's just come back out of that. So let's do a speaker test. So we've got the music playing at the moment. I've got the volume up to the maximum. I'm going to put it about 6 inches away from the mic, okay? That's a decent volume. In fact, so much so, I've just got to whack it down like that. You can use these on here. I've just got used to pressing FN and the up and down on the D-pad to change the volume. Okay. So as you can see, it runs these games really well. They're not particularly labour intensive, okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to go and pick a game that's a little bit more intensive. We'll go and pick Zelda from the Nintendo 64 system. It's a little bit more labour intensive, just to show you how this kind of runs, okay? So here we are in Ocarina of Time. Before I go into a little bit of gameplay, I just want to show you there's all the functions. So when you hit functions here, the function button, you can press one of the buttons at the back there, so L2, and it shows your FPS. And then if you do left and right, you can change your manual save slots. So we've got manual save slot 1, manual save slot 0, and if I click FN and that one, it will automatically go to where I saved it. So there's no mucking about, you can flick to it. So where I was just before, that was manual save slot 1. So if I go to that and load that one up, it goes straight back to there. So you can have manual save slots, so it's really good. And now let's just have a quick play of it, just to show you kind of how it runs under a little bit of duress. So as you saw, it handled a game like Ocarina of Time quite well. I was quite pleased with that, and I'm hoping that when I update the firmware and stick some other games on it, it will run even better. But I'll show you a few of the games I've got. So I've got Super Nintendo here, 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Beats of Rage, Genesis, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Dreamcast, Neo Geo Pocket, PlayStation, PSP, and then we have a list of all of the games. It's academic really because you can stick whatever games you like on here. This is the stock firmware, so you hit that and then you just select which game you like, which is a bit funny. It's not the best way of doing it. But as you can see, I've got hundreds of games preloaded on here, and I'm going to be adding a few more. So the next video will be updating the firmware. Don't worry if you've not got a clue on how to do it. I don't either. I'm going to go away and learn that, and then I'm going to show you all of my mistakes and all of my victories on how to update this. Okay, so do please like and subscribe until the next video. Leave links down below where you can get hold of this, because I've actually found some other places are cheaper. Because I thought Amazon would have been the best place, but Amazon is actually the most expensive. So if you're willing to get it from places over in China, you can get it a little bit cheaper. I'll leave links down below where you can get hold of it. Okay, that's it then. Thanks very much. Until the next video. Bye-bye.